Buck's Diner in Woodside, and I go through my 2-hour PowerPoint presentation. Poor Chris. He gave me great feedback, but no TED Talk. Then a year later, in 2005, Chris sent out a notice saying they want to try some 3-minute talks, in addition to the usual 18-minute ones, and to apply if you're interested. Instantly I responded, Chris, remember that 2-hour presentation I gave you in Buck's Diner? I can do it in 3 minutes. Chris, in 180 seconds? That's when your microphone gets cut off. Me, you bet, not a second over. Chris, okay, you're on. Good luck. Now the pressure was on to reduce my talk from 2 hours to 3 minutes. I spent weeks cutting and revising, then practicing it hundreds of times. All the while, those 180 seconds are looming over my head, ready to cut me off in mid-sentence. However, the 3-minute enemy is actually a friend, because it forces me to get to the heart of the content and be crystal clear. Finally, I was sitting in the front row at TED, waiting to go on stage. I looked around and saw big names like Bill Gates and all these great speakers I really admire. The presenter before me was James Watson, Nobel Prize-winning co-discoverer of the DNA structure. You want to be nervous? Try following him. I thought, what the hell am I doing here? Nobody wants to hear me. My anxiety increased. My stomach churned. I glanced down at a piece of paper in my hand where I've scribbled 3 reminders. 1, have fun. 2, keep smiling. 3, Richard Feynman. Why this great physicist? Because in his book, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, he recounts how he calmed himself when he had to give a talk with Albert Einstein in the audience. I remember very clearly seeing my hands shaking as I pulled out my notes from a brown envelope. But then a miracle occurred. The moment I start to think about the physics and have to concentrate on what I'm explaining, nothing else occupies my mind. I'm completely immune to being nervous. As I sat there shaking, I reminded myself of that. Then walking up onto the TED stage, I'm concentrating 100% on my content of what I need to communicate. Everything else is shut out. My eyes make contact with audience members, but my mind is totally absorbed in what I'm saying. I look at the clock. Oh no, it's already running. The 180 seconds are ticking away. I flew through the talk as fast as I could. No pauses, no stopping, no waiting for laughter to subside. And I finish right on time. Phew. And that's the story behind my first TED Talk. I want to leave you with a few pieces of advice that mirror what you will read in this book. First, forget about being a great speaker. Just go out there and do your best to spread your ideas. Speaking does not inspire people. Content inspires people. Second, there are different strokes for different folks. Ken Robinson has his style, and I have mine. Be authentic and communicate the way you are off stage. Third, stick to the script. If you have spent days, weeks, and sometimes months working on a speech, then do not throw it away and improvise on the spot. I have seen a number of speakers start ad-libbing, and it's always the worst part of their talk. And last, practice, practice, practice. It's the key to getting good at anything, including speaking. I've interviewed many great speakers. Not one was a natural speaker. They all practiced more than anyone else. Jeremey prefers that I not praise his book, so to conclude my introduction, let me just say this. When I received a copy of this book, I picked it up and quickly started underlining great ideas to help me deliver better talks. Now, half of my bloody book is underlined. If you have an idea worth spreading, this book is worth reading. Richard St. John, author of The 8 Traits Successful People Have in Common, 8 to be Great. Introduction. Confessions of a TED Talk Addict. I still remember the day, back when I was 8 years old, when I decided what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It was a time before TED Talks, before the internet, which made them a global phenomenon, even existed. In those days, the people who created electronics built them to last, and the people who purchased electronics cherished them. My family, like all the other families I knew, squeezed every ounce of life from our gadgets until the switches and fans and lights became so arthritic that even the electronics repair